if I told you that your success is not controlled by luck, connections, or even talent, but by one simple law that operates every single second of your life? A law so powerful that whatever you consistently think about, you move toward, whether you realize it or not. Today, we talk about the law of focus. Where your attention goes, your life follows. It is not your occasional thoughts that shape your destiny, it is your dominant ones. The ideas you return to again and again, the worries you rehearse, the dreams you secretly nurture, the fears you silently entertain, these become the architects of your future. Your mind is not passive. It is creative. It is active. It is always moving you toward something. If your attention is fixed on lack, you begin to notice every closed door. If your attention is fixed on rejection, you begin to expect it. If your attention is fixed on possibility, courage begins to rise within you. Think about this deeply. Whatever occupies your mind most consistently begins to influence your decisions quietly. And your decisions, repeated daily, determine your direction. A person who constantly thinks about failure will hesitate. A person who constantly thinks about growth will act. Your attention shapes your behavior before you even realize it. Spiritually, this principle is not new. Scripture reminds us that as a person thinks in their heart, so they become. The heart, the center of thought and belief, directs the steps. What you meditate on becomes what you move toward. When your attention is fixed on gratitude, peace enters your life. When your attention is fixed on purpose, strength begins to build. When your attention is fixed on divine guidance, fear loses its grip. What you repeatedly think about becomes your internal compass. If you wake up each morning rehearsing your problems, your body feels heavy before the day even begins. But when you wake up rehearsing purpose, remembering that your life has meaning, that your Creator placed potential within you, your spirit stands taller. Attention is not small. It is sacred. What you give your attention to is what you are worshiping in that moment. Worry becomes worship when you magnify it. Doubt becomes dominant when you feed it daily. But faith grows powerful when you nourish it consistently. Emotion follows attention. Focus on past pain, and the wound reopens. Focus on betrayal, and anger resurfaces. Focus on hope, and your chest expands with courage. Your nervous system responds to what you dwell on. Your heart responds to what you magnify. Your future responds to what you consistently emphasize. This is why guarding your thoughts is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is spiritual discipline. It is emotional maturity. Your life is moving right now in the direction of your most consistent focus. If your attention is scattered across distractions, your progress will be scattered. If your attention is anchored in purpose, your path will become clearer. There is power in choosing what you think about. When you deliberately place your attention on growth, service, integrity, and faith, you begin aligning yourself with something higher than circumstance. You begin walking with intention instead of drifting with emotion. And slowly, almost quietly, your direction changes. Not because the world changed, but because your focus did. The battlefield is not around you, it is within you. And the outcome depends on what you repeatedly allow to occupy your mind. Every thought you entertain is a seed. Every repeated thought is a planted field. And every field produces a harvest. Your direction is being decided by what you allow to live rent-free in your attention right now. Energy is life. It is the invisible force behind every action you take, every word you speak, every goal you pursue. But energy is not random, it follows command. And the commander is your focus. Where you consistently place your attention, your energy begins to gather. If you scatter your focus across distractions, your strength becomes diluted. You feel busy but unproductive, exhausted but unfulfilled, movement without progress. But when your attention locks onto one clear objective, something extraordinary happens. Your energy aligns. Your thoughts sharpen. Your actions become intentional. Your effort becomes powerful. Concentration creates multiplication. Think of sunlight. Spread across the earth, it warms gently. But when concentrated through a lens, it ignites fire. The same light, different focus, completely different result. Your mind works the same way. When you give half-hearted attention to your dreams, you produce half-formed results. But when you commit fully mentally, emotionally, spiritually, momentum begins to build. Emotion fuels energy. and energy obeys focus. If you dwell on resentment, your emotional energy feeds bitterness. If you dwell on fear, your energy feeds anxiety. If you dwell on purpose, your energy feeds discipline and courage. Spiritually, focus is an act of stewardship. You are entrusted with time, strength, and potential. When you focus intentionally, you honor that trust. When you allow distraction to dominate you, you leak the very energy that was meant to elevate you. There is a sacred principle here. What you meditate on grows stronger within you. When your focus is on faith, your spiritual energy expands. When your focus is on service, your compassion deepens. When your focus is on excellence, your standards rise. You cannot give energy to everything. You are not designed to chase every opportunity, answer every noise, or entertain every opinion. Divided attention creates divided results. The world profits from your distraction, but your destiny depends on your concentration. Notice how you feel when you work with full focus. Time disappears. Doubt quiets. Confidence increases. That is aligned energy. That is power in motion. Concentrated attention multiplies results because it removes internal conflict. Your mind stops arguing. Your heart stops wavering. Your actions stop hesitating. Clarity creates acceleration. When your focus is clear, decisions become easier. You say no without guilt. You say yes with conviction. You protect your time like something valuable because it is. Energy follows your mental spotlight. If your spotlight stays on what is wrong, your energy drains. If your spotlight stays on what is possible, your energy rises. And here is the emotional truth. Most people are not tired because they are doing too much. They are tired because their focus is fragmented. Their energy is leaking through comparison, doubt, distraction, and worry. Gather your focus. Collect your attention. Direct it with intention. When your focus becomes disciplined, your energy becomes powerful. And when your energy becomes powerful, your results begin to multiply beyond what once seemed possible. Clarity is not just mental organization, it is strength. When you know exactly what you are aiming at, something shifts inside you. Confusion fades. Hesitation weakens. Doubt loses its voice. A clear target gives your mind direction, and direction gives your life momentum. Most people struggle not because they lack ability, but because they lack clarity. They wake up reacting instead of pursuing. They move, but without aim. They work hard, but without precision. And effort without clarity leads to exhaustion. But when the target is clear, when you know who you want to become, what you are building, and why it matters, decisions become sharper. You no longer waste energy debating every option. You measure choices against your purpose. Does this move me closer to my calling? Does this align with my values? Does this serve the vision placed in my heart? Clarity turns complicated decisions into simple ones. Spiritually, clarity is light, and light removes confusion. When you seek guidance with sincerity, when you quiet the noise and listen deeply, direction becomes visible. Faith strengthens when purpose becomes defined. A clear target is an act of belief. It says, I was not created to drift. I was created to build, to serve, to grow. Without clarity, distraction feels attractive. Every opportunity looks urgent. Every opinion feels important. Every noise demands attention. But when your target is defined, distraction loses its charm. You stop chasing what is shiny and start pursuing what is meaningful. Emotionally, clarity brings peace. It settles the storm inside the mind. It reduces anxiety because you are no longer overwhelmed by endless possibilities. You are focused on a chosen path. And with that focus comes confidence. When you are clear, your posture changes. Your voice strengthens. Your steps become firm. You are no longer asking the world who you should be. You are becoming it intentionally. Clarity also protects your energy. When you know your mission, you stop saying yes to things that dilute you. You stop investing time in environments that drain you. You stop explaining your ambition to people committed to mediocrity. A clear target creates boundaries, and boundaries protect power. There is emotional strength in knowing exactly what you are building. It fuels persistence during difficulty. When challenges arise, and they will, clarity remind you why you started. Without clarity, obstacles feel like reasons to quit. With clarity, Obstacles become part of the journey. Your mind performs better when it has a defined aim. It searches for solutions more effectively. It filters information more intelligently. It organizes priorities more strategically. Clarity sharpens perception. It turns chaos into structure. It turns pressure into focus. It turns potential into action. And the more specific the target, the stronger the power. Vague desires produce vague results. Clear intentions produce measurable progress. Clarity is not accidental, it is chosen. It requires reflection. It requires honesty. It requires courage to admit what you truly want and the discipline to pursue it faithfully. When you define your target with conviction, you activate a deeper level of strength within yourself, a strength that was always present but waiting for direction. The mind is programmable. Whether you realize it or not, you are writing mental code every single day. Every repeated thought, every rehearsed memory, every internal sentence you whisper to yourself, it is shaping the architecture of your identity. One thought alone has little power. But a thought repeated becomes belief, and a belief repeated becomes behavior, and behavior repeated becomes destiny. Repetition is the sculptor of the human mind. If you tell yourself daily that you are behind, inadequate, unlucky, your subconscious accepts it as truth. It does not argue. It does not analyze. It simply records and executes. The mind obeys repetition more than it obeys logic. This is why fear grows when rehearsed. This is why resentment deepens when replayed. This is why confidence strengthens when affirmed consistently. What you think about daily becomes your internal blueprint, the silent design that guides your actions, reactions, and expectations. Spiritually, this principle has always existed. We are instructed to meditate on what is pure, noble, true, and worthy. Why? Because meditation, repetition of thought transforms the heart. What you dwell upon shapes who you become. If you repeatedly dwell on gratitude, your spirit softens. If you repeatedly dwell on divine promises, faith grows stronger. If you repeatedly dwell on purpose, discipline becomes natural. Your internal conversations matter. Most battles are not external. They are internal dialogues repeated in silence. Am not ready. What if I fail? I can't do this. When repeated daily, these thoughts carve deep pathways in the mind. They become automatic. They shape posture, tone, risk-taking, and ambition. But the same law works in your favor when you repeat, I am growing. I am guided. I am capable. My work has meaning. Slowly, your subconscious begins to align with those truths. Neuroscience confirms what wisdom has long taught. Repeated thoughts strengthen neural pathways. The brain adapts to what it practices. It becomes efficient at thinking what you train it to think. So if you train it in doubt, it becomes skilled at doubt. If you train it in courage, it becomes skilled at courage. Emotion attaches to repetition. The more you revisit a thought, the more emotional weight it carries. And emotion reinforces memory. That is how beliefs become deeply rooted. This is why guarding your daily mental diet is essential. What you read repeatedly, what you watch repeatedly, what you listen to repeatedly, what you say to yourself repeatedly. All of it is constructing your internal blueprint. You cannot think negatively all day and expect a positive life. You cannot rehearse defeat and expect victory. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between imagination and reality when repetition is involved. It simply absorbs and acts. That is why visualization works. That is why prayer works. That is why affirmations work. They are focused repetition aligned with belief. There is something sacred about what you choose to repeat in your mind, because repetition is not just thought, it is formation. You are forming habits. You are forming identity. You are forming expectations. And expectations influence outcomes. If deep inside you expect rejection, you unconsciously act guarded. If deep inside you expect progress, you act with openness and initiative. Daily thinking becomes daily programming, and programming becomes pattern. Pattern becomes personality. Personality influences destiny. Your mind is always listening to you. The question is, what are you teaching it every day? Momentum is a fragile force. It is powerful once built but easily broken. Like a train gaining speed, progress becomes smoother the longer it stays in motion. But one unnecessary stop, one careless diversion, one moment of divided focus, and the rhythm is disrupted. Distraction is not always loud. Sometimes it appears harmless, a notification, a comparison, an invitation that feels urgent but is not important. And slowly, your attention fragments. Where focus is divided, energy is diluted. You may still be moving, but you are no longer advancing with strength. Your potential weakens, not because you lack ability, but because your attention is scattered. Every great achievement requires sustained attention, not occasional interest, not temporary excitement, but disciplined focus over time. Distraction interrupts depth, and depth is where mastery lives. Spiritually, distraction is one of the oldest battles of the human soul. The mind pulled in many directions cannot experience peace. The heart chasing every impulse cannot experience purpose. We are reminded to remain steadfast, firm, unwavering, because divided devotion produces unstable direction. When your focus is divided, your confidence weakens. When your focus is divided, your discipline erodes. When your focus is divided, your progress slows, even if your effort increases. Emotionally, distraction creates frustration. You feel busy but behind, active but unfulfilled, engaged but not effective. You start many things, you finish few, and unfinished work drains belief. Every time you break focus unnecessarily, you reset your momentum. It takes time to rebuild concentration. It takes energy to re-enter flow. What could have taken hours stretches into days. What could have taken months stretches into years. Potential is not destroyed by lack of talent. It is destroyed by lack of sustained attention. Consider how distraction operates. It promises relief. It offers temporary pleasure. It whispers, just a moment. But that moment compounds. Minutes become hours. Hours become habits. And habits shape destiny. There is power in guarding your attention like something sacred. Because it is sacred. Your attention is the gateway to your future. When you protect it, momentum builds naturally. When you allow it to be stolen repeatedly, progress becomes inconsistent. Focus requires discipline. Discipline requires sacrifice. You cannot entertain every voice and expect clarity. You cannot chase every opportunity and expect depth. A divided focus weakens potential because greatness demands commitment. The mind that constantly switches tasks becomes shallow. The heart that constantly switches direction becomes uncertain. But when you eliminate distraction intentionally, you create space for excellence. You allow yourself to think deeply, to act decisively, to build consistently. Emotionally, there is strength in saying no. There is confidence in narrowing your path. There is peace in knowing that you are not scattered. Momentum loves consistency. Every day you protect your focus, your progress compounds. Every hour you resist distraction, your discipline strengthens. Every time you return your attention to your purpose, you reinforce your direction. Distraction delays progress not because you stopped, but because you divided yourself. And nothing powerful can be built with a divided mind. Thought alone is powerful, but thought combined with emotion becomes magnetic. A simple idea passes through the mind and fades. But when that idea is charged with feeling belief, excitement, gratitude, fear, love, it imprints deeply. It lingers. It shapes behavior. It drives action. Emotion is the fuel of focus. You can think about success casually and remain unchanged. But when you feel success, when your heart beats faster imagining it, when your chest expands with belief, your nervous system responds as if it is already real. Emotion moves thought from the surface of the mind into the depths of the soul. This is why painful memories are hard to forget. They are emotionally charged. The feeling seals the memory. The same principle works in your favor when applied intentionally. When you attach strong, positive emotion to your goals, you accelerate your movement toward them. Spiritually, emotion is not weakness. It is divine wiring. We were created as emotional beings. Love strengthens faith. Gratitude deepens awareness. Reverence increases discipline. When prayer is empty of feeling, it becomes routine. But when it is filled with sincerity and emotion, it transforms the heart. Feeling intensifies focus. If you visualize your future without emotion, it remains distant. But if you visualize it with gratitude as though it is already unfolding, your belief strengthens. And belief influences behavior. Emotion signals importance to the subconscious mind. What you feel deeply, you pursue consistently. If you emotionally connect to fear, you unconsciously move toward avoidance. If you emotionally connect to faith, you unconsciously move toward courage. This is why passion changes everything. A person who feels deeply about their purpose will endure hardship without quitting. Emotion sustains effort. It gives meaning to sacrifice. It gives strength during delay. Cold logic may start the journey, but emotion sustains it. Think of moments when you were truly determined, not just interested, but emotionally committed. Your energy was different. Your focus was sharp. Distractions seemed small. Doubt seemed quieter. Emotion amplifies clarity. When your heart aligns with your vision, procrastination weakens. When your feelings support your thoughts, hesitation fades. There is something sacred about aligning your emotions with your purpose. Gratitude for where you are. Faith for where you are going. Compassion in how you grow. Reverence for the gifts you have been entrusted with. When emotion is aligned with belief, manifestation accelerates because action becomes natural. You no longer force discipline, you desire progress. You no longer chase motivation, you embody commitment. Emotion also warns you. If you repeatedly attach negative emotion to your identity, shame, regret, bitterness, those feelings intensify and begin shaping your self-image. And self-image influences performance. But when you attach empowering emotion to your identity, dignity, strength, faith, gratitude, you elevate your self-concept. Your subconscious listens more closely to what you feel than to what you say. So when you speak your goals, feel them. When you pray, feel it. When you visualize, feel it. When you commit, feel it. Because feeling activates belief. Belief activates behavior. Behavior produces results. Emotion amplifies focus, and what is consistently focused on with strong feeling begins to move from imagination into reality. Destiny is not an accident. It is not a random collision of luck and circumstance. It is the accumulated result of daily mental direction. What you consistently choose to think about, dwell upon, and pursue begins shaping the path beneath your feet. Deliberate focus is power exercised with awareness. Most people drift mentally. They allow moods to dictate thoughts. They allow headlines to dictate emotions. They allow other people's opinions to dictate self-worth. And then they wonder why their lives feel out of control. But the moment you consciously choose your mental direction, everything begins to change. You stop reacting. You start deciding. You stop drifting. You start directing. Your mind is a compass. If you do not set it intentionally, it will spin toward whatever is loudest. Fear is loud. Negativity is loud. Comparison is loud. But purpose requires quiet, intentional choice. Spiritually, intention matters deeply. We are taught that actions begin in the heart. The direction of the heart determines the direction of the life. When your focus is aligned with integrity, faith, growth, and service, your steps gradually align with those values. What you intentionally meditate on becomes your guiding principle. If you choose daily to focus on becoming disciplined, your habits begin to reflect it. If you choose daily to focus on becoming patient, your reactions begin to soften. If you choose daily to focus on your calling, your time begins to organize around it. Deliberate focus requires courage. It means saying no to mental chaos. It means refusing to rehearse defeat. It means interrupting negative patterns the moment they appear. That interruption is powerful, because every time you redirect your thoughts intentionally, you are reclaiming authority over your future. Emotionally, there is strength in conscious direction. It reduces anxiety. It increases clarity. It builds confidence. You feel less like a victim of circumstance and more like a steward of potential. When you choose your mental focus deliberately, you stop magnifying what you cannot control and start investing in what you can. You cannot control every outcome, but you can control what you emphasize, and what you emphasize grows. Deliberate focus also builds spiritual maturity. It teaches patience. It strengthens discipline. It deepens trust. You begin aligning your thoughts with higher values instead of temporary impulses. There is something sacred about intentional thinking. It honors the gift of consciousness. It honors the responsibility of choice. Every day, your mind stands at a crossroads. One path is automatic, driven by emotion, habit, and environment. The other path is intentional, driven by vision, belief, and purpose. The automatic path feels easier. The intentional path creates destiny. When you consciously choose to focus on growth, even during difficulty, you are shaping resilience. When you choose to focus on gratitude during hardship, you are shaping character. When you choose to focus on long-term purpose over short-term pleasure, you are shaping legacy. Destiny is not created in a single dramatic moment. It is formed quietly, daily, through chosen thoughts repeated with intention. Your future is being designed by your present focus, and every deliberate redirection of your mind is a declaration that your life will not be left to chance. It will be shaped with intention, faith, discipline, and unwavering clarity. Choose carefully what you dwell upon. Choose carefully what you magnify. Choose carefully what you rehearse in your mind. Because your focus is building something, either your limitations or your legacy. Direct it wisely.